Listen, I need to tell you something about humans that nobody in the Galactic Council wants to admit. They are absolutely, certifiably insane. And before you start defending them, let me explain what happened on Station Krell 9 3 cycles ago. My name is Vortan, and I am a Quillari security analyst. That means I watch surveillance feeds and write reports that nobody reads. Thrilling stuff, right? But that day? That day changed everything I thought I knew about those bizarre primates from the third planet. The human's name was Marcus Webb. Average height for his species, brown hair that looked like he cut it himself with a plasma torch, and this ridiculous grin that never quite left his face. He was a freight coordinator. You know, the kind of job where you move boxes from one ship to another and pretend it matters. Nothing special. Nothing dangerous. Except Marcus Webb had volunteered for the Krell 9 assignment. Now, Krell 9 is not exactly a vacation destination. It sits in the border reaches, where 3 different territorial zones overlap like a Venn diagram of bad decisions. Pirates love it. Smugglers love it. The Galactic Council tolerates it because shutting it down would require actual work. So there we were, a glorified trading post with delusions of importance, and this human decided it was the perfect place to spend 6 months. My supervisor, a grumpy Thexian named Gorval, had laughed when Marcus's application came through. A human? Out here? He will last 2 weeks before he requests a transfer. I had agreed. Humans were soft. Everyone knew that. Sure, they had joined the galactic community with impressive technology and entertaining optimism, but they came from a gentle world. 1 star. Reasonable gravity. No methane storms or acid rain. They were like children playing at being adults. How wrong we were. Marcus arrived on a Tuesday. I remember because Tuesdays are when we get the spice shipments from the Kelvin colonies, and the entire loading bay smells like someone set a garden on fire. He stepped off the transport with 1 bag, that stupid grin, and absolutely no sense of self-preservation. "Hey there," he called out to everyone and no one. "Great to be here. This place looks amazing." Krell 9 looked like a rust bucket held together with optimism and illegal welding. Amazing was not the word anyone had ever used. Gorval shot me a look that said I give him 4 days. Marcus got assigned to Base 7, which handled the mid-tier freight. Nothing too valuable, nothing too dangerous, just the boring stuff that kept the station running. He showed up on time every day. Always cheerful, always asking questions. How do the gravity generators work? Why do the Threxian ships smell like sulfur? Can you actually eat those purple mushrooms growing in the ventilation shaft? That last one was a hard no, by the way. The other workers started calling him Sunshine because of his relentless positivity. Not affectionately. More like you would name a plague. But Marcus did not seem to care. He did his job, helped others with theirs, and somehow managed to befriend our medical officer, a cynical Venlari named Doctor. Sex who hated everyone equally. He is either the dumbest creature I have ever met, Kessex told me one evening, or he is playing a game none of us understand. Turns out it was neither. Marcus was just Marcus. 2 months into his assignment, things went wrong, not the normal wrong, like shipments getting delayed or someone stealing ration packs. Real wrong. The kind of wrong that gets people killed. A raiding crew called the Talon Syndicate decided Krell 9 would make an excellent target. They were professionals. 50 heavily armed mercenaries from 6 different species, all willing to kill for credits. Their plan was simple and brutal. Hit the station during a shift change, take hostages, demand ransom from the council, then disappear into the border reaches before anyone could respond. I was watching the security feeds when they breached Bay 3. Cutting-edge plasma rifles. Military-grade armor. They moved like a well-oiled machine, taking control of critical systems in minutes. Gorval slammed the emergency lockdown, sealing most of the station into compartments, but Base 7 had not sealed in time. 12 workers trapped, including Marcus Webb. The Syndicate's leader, a Krellian named Veskaar, made the announcement over station-wide communication. His voice was smooth, almost friendly. "Good evening, residents of Krell 9. We have secured several sections of your lovely station. We have taken 43 hostages. You will pay us 20 million credits, or we will start venting compartments. You have 6 hours. Thank you for your cooperation." Then he cut the feed. Gorval's face turned that particular shade of purple that meant he was about to start breaking things. 6 hours. The Council will never authorize payment in 6 hours. They will debate for 6 days. He was right. The bureaucracy would kill those people as surely as any vacuum exposure. I pulled up the feeds from Bay 7, expecting to see terrified workers huddled together, maybe crying, definitely panicking. Humans were supposed to be emotional creatures, right? Prone to fear? Marcus Webb was laughing, not hysterical laughter, not nervous laughter. He was genuinely amused, like someone had told him the punchline to a joke only he understood. The other hostages stared at him like he had grown a second head. A syndicate guard, a massive Thraxian with more guns than sense, stomped over to Marcus. "You think this is funny, human? You want to die first?" Marcus held up his hands in that universal gesture of peace. Sorry. It is just you guys are really committing to this, huh?" The dramatic announcement, the timer, all very professional. I respect the effort. The guard looked confused. Confusion turned to anger. He raised his rifle. Wait, Marcus said quickly. "I was not mocking you. Seriously. Can I ask one question?" The guard did not shoot him. That was his first mistake. "What?" The Thraxian growled. "Did you guys check the cargo manifest for Bay 7? Like, specifically what we were processing today?" The guard's translator struggled with human idioms, but his expression suggested he thought this was a very stupid question. "We do not care about your cargo." Marcus's grin got wider. Right. That makes sense. You are focused on the big picture. Smart. It is just, today we were processing a shipment from the Kelvin agricultural colonies, specifically Kelvin Razorweed. Every single person in that bay, hostage and captor alike, went very still. Let me explain something about Kelvin Razorweed. It is a plant. A very special plant that the Kelvins use for medicinal purposes. When properly processed and contained, it is harmless, beneficial even. When improperly handled or exposed to oxygen-rich environments, it releases spores. Spores that cause immediate respiratory distress in 80% of known species, fatal in 60% within hours. And Marcus Webb had been processing it all day. The Thraxian guard took a step back. "You are lying." Marcus shrugged. "Am I? Check your scanners." Bay 7 air quality has been flagged for elevated particulate matter all day. We were supposed to have it cleaned by the hazard team tonight, but, he gestured at the armed mercenaries. "You guys showed up." Another guard, a Quillari like me, pulled out a scanner. She ran it over the air, then ran it again, then looked at her commander with wide eyes. He is not lying. Razorweed contamination. Low levels, but building. Veskaar's voice crackled over the guard's communication channel. I was listening in from the security office. "What are you telling me?" "The human says Base 7 is contaminated with razorweed spores, sir." Scans confirm. There was a very long pause. Then Veskaar said something extremely unprofessional. "I will not repeat it." Marcus raised his hand like a student in class. "So here is the thing. Humans, we are from Earth. Terrible planet. Everything there tries to kill us. Plants, animals, weather, other humans. We have been exposed to so many toxins and allergens and weird biological agents that our immune systems are basically paranoid war machines. Razorweed does not really affect us. Gives me a slight headache at worst." He paused for effect. The man had timing, I will give him that. "But you guys? Most of you? You are breathing in something that is going to make you very sick very soon. You have maybe 20 minutes before symptoms start. 30 if you are lucky. The guards looked at each other. One of them was already coughing. Marcus continued, his voice still friendly, still casual. Now you could seal your helmets, sure. But then you have maybe an hour of air? 2 hours? And the contamination is spreading through the ventilation. The longer you stay, the worse it gets. So you have a choice. You can leave Base 7, seal it off, abandon 12 hostages who are now a liability rather than an asset, or you can try to tough it out and hope your species has a natural resistance to alien plant spores. The Thraxian guard raised his rifle again. His hand was shaking. You did this on purpose. Me? Marcus looked genuinely offended. I am a freight coordinator. I process cargo. It is literally my job. You are the ones who decided to take over a station without checking what was being stored where. That is on you, buddy. Veskaar's voice came through again. All back to Bay 3. Seal Bay 7. Leave them? The guards started moving immediately. But Marcus was not done. Hey, wait, he called out. Before you go, you said you took 43 hostages total, right? Where are the others? The Quillari guard answered without thinking. Bay 3, Bay 6, Medical Section B. Cool, cool. And those areas are sealed now? She nodded, then realized she should not be answering questions. But it was too late. Marcus turned to his fellow hostages. Did everyone catch that? 3 locations, 43 people total. Minus US 12, that is 31 others. One of the other workers, a young Venlari named Tasca, whispered, "What are you doing?" "Helping," Marcus said simply. The guards left. The bay doors sealed. We watched from the security office as the contamination warnings started flashing across multiple systems. Gorval leaned forward. "What is that human planning?" I had no idea. None of us did. Marcus walked over to a supply crate. He opened it and pulled out a breathing mask, the kind used for hazardous cargo processing. He put it on, then started handing them out to the other hostages. "Okay, folks. Let me explain what we are going to do. But first I need to know, who here has any experience with station maintenance?" A Thexian named Vorlik raised his hand hesitantly. I worked in environmental controls before this job." "Perfect." Marcus clapped his hands together. "Vorlik, my friend, you are about to save a lot of lives. How well do you know the ventilation system?" Vorlik blinked his 3 eyes in sequence. "Very well. But it is locked down. We cannot access the controls from here." Marcus's grin was borderline manic. "We do not need the controls. We just need the vents themselves. Physical access. Can you guide us through the maintenance tunnels?" "To where?" "To wherever those other hostages are being held. Starting with Medical Section B, because if they have a doctor hostage, we are going to need her." Tasca shook her head. "This is insane. We are hostages. We should wait for rescue. In 6 hours, the Syndicate starts killing people," Marcus said. His voice was still light, but there was steel underneath. "The Council will not pay in time. You know they will not. So we have 2 choices. We wait and hope, or we do something about it." "I vote for doing something." Another hostage, an older Quillari named Mexon, spoke up. "Even if we could reach the others, there are 50 armed mercenaries on this station. What can we do against them?" Marcus pulled out a datapad. "Well, let me tell you what I have been doing for the past 2 months, besides moving boxes. I have been studying this station. Every system, every backup, every weird quirk and safety flaw. You know why? Because I was bored. And humans hate being bored. We will literally risk death to avoid boredom." He pulled up a schematic of Krell 9. "This station is old. Really old. It has been retrofitted and patched and jury-rigged so many times that it is basically held together with spare parts and prayer. which means it has vulnerabilities. Lots of them. And I found most of them. Vorlik leaned in to look at the schematic. His eyes widened. By the ancestors, you found the maintenance bypass. I thought that was sealed decades ago. It was supposed to be. But the seal is just a welded plate, easy enough to remove if you have the right tools and zero regard for safety regulations. Marcus looked around at the group. So here is the plan. We use the maintenance tunnels to reach Medical Section B. We free those hostages, including hopefully a doctor who can help with any injuries. Then we move to Bay 6 and Bay 3, freeing hostages and causing chaos as we go. What kind of chaos? Tasca asked. Marcus's smile was absolutely predatory. The fun kind. Humans are really good at chaos. It is sort of our thing. We are going to turn this ambush into a rescue mission, and those syndicate idiots are going to wish they had picked literally any other station to rob. Gorval was watching the feed with his mouth hanging open. He cannot be serious. But Marcus was already moving, prying open a floor panel to reveal the maintenance access. Vorlik helped him, and together they opened a passage into the guts of the station. One by one, the hostages climbed down. I switched camera feeds, trying to track their progress. The maintenance tunnels were not monitored well. Old systems, poor coverage. I caught glimpses. Marcus leading the way, consulting his datapad like he was following a recipe. The others behind him, scared but moving. In the security office, Kesix had joined us. She was furious that Medical Section B was occupied. If they hurt my staff, your staff might be getting rescued by a suicidal human, Gorval said. I am not sure which is worse. 20 minutes later, Marcus and his group reached a junction point near Medical Section B. I could see them on a grainy feed, gathered in a cramped space that smelled like oil and desperation. Marcus held up his hand for silence. He tapped on his datapad, then pointed upward. There was a vent cover above them. He gestured to Vorlik, who nodded and carefully loosened the bolts. They lifted the cover away, revealing the underside of the medical section floor. Voices filtered down. Guards talking. Hostages crying. The sounds of control and fear. Marcus pulled out something from his pack. I could not see what it was at first. Then he activated it, and I realized he had brought a maintenance flare. The kind used for emergency signaling in zero-gravity environments. Incredibly bright, incredibly loud, and incredibly illegal to use in enclosed spaces. He whispered something to the others. They covered their ears and closed their eyes. Then Marcus Webb did something that confirmed my suspicion that humans were absolutely out of their minds. He threw the flare up through the vent, directly into Medical Section B. The effect was immediate and spectacular. The flare ignited with a sound like thunder and light like a small sun. The alarms started screaming. The guards started shouting. The hostages started screaming. And in the chaos, Marcus and his team climbed up through the floor. I could barely track what happened next. The feed was washed out by the flare's light, but I heard sounds. Fighting. Something heavy hitting the floor. A guard yelling in pain. Then Marcus's voice, calm and steady. It is okay. We are here to help. Stay down. When the flare finally burned out and the feed cleared, I saw something I will never forget. 4 syndicate guards were on the ground, unconscious or groaning. The hostages were huddled together, safe. And Marcus Webb was standing in the middle of it all, breathing hard, holding a medical scanner like a weapon, that insane grin still on his face. Dr. Kesix's voice came through the station communication. She must have found a working terminal. Vortan. Can you hear me? I grabbed the communicator. Doctor? Are you okay? I am fine. Thanks to the crazy human. He just took down 4 armed guards with a maintenance flare and what I can only describe as aggressive optimism. Gorval leaned in. How many hostages are with you? 8. All unharmed. Marcus says we are moving to Bay 6 next. Bay 6? Gorval checked his screens. That has 12 guards. He barely survived 4. I tried telling him that, Keswick said. He said, and I quote, "Hold my metaphorical beer." The communicator cut out. I looked at Gorval. He looked at me. We both looked at the screens showing the Syndicate's command center in Bay 3. Veskaar was yelling at his subordinates, trying to figure out what was happening. "This human," Gorval said slowly, "is going to get everyone killed or save everyone. I cannot tell which." "Maybe both," I suggested. "How is that possible?" I watched Marcus lead his growing group of freed hostages through another maintenance tunnel. He was pointing at his datapad, explaining something to Vorlik. The others were following him like he actually knew what he was doing. "Because he is human," I said. "And apparently that means normal rules do not apply." Gorval made a sound that might have been a laugh or a sob. "The Council is going to hear about this. They will never believe it." "I am recording everything," I assured him. "We are going to need evidence. Otherwise, nobody will believe that one freight coordinator with a smile and a death wish took on the Talon Syndicate." On screen, Marcus stopped at another junction. He gathered everyone close and started explaining his plan for Bay 6. I could not hear the words, but I could see the reactions. Shock. Disbelief. Then, slowly, determination. Whatever he said, it was working. These people, who had been terrified hostages minutes ago, were now nodding along to a human's insane rescue plan. Veskaar's voice came over the Syndicate channel again. "Teams 2 and 4, check in. What is your status?" Silence. "Teams 2 and 4, respond immediately." More silence. "Yeah." Veskaar realized something was very wrong. All teams, heightened alert. "We have a security breach. Hostages are attempting escape. Lethal force is authorized." In the maintenance tunnel, Marcus checked a small device on his wrist, some kind of timer. He said something to the group, and they all moved faster. They were running out of time. The Syndicate was catching on. And Bay 6 had 12 guards who were now on high alert. This was either going to be the most spectacular rescue in station history, or the most tragic mistake. Knowing humans? It was probably going to be both. Marcus reached the access point below Bay 6. He paused, looked up at the vent cover, then back at his group of 20 freed hostages and fellow survivors. He mouthed something that looked like "trust me." Then he grabbed a fire suppression canister from the wall, modified something on its release valve with a multi-tool, and prepared to do something spectacularly stupid. Again. Let me tell you what a fire suppression canister is designed to do. It releases a foam compound that smothers flames and reduces oxygen levels in a controlled manner. Controlled. That word is important. What Marcus Webb was about to do with it was not controlled in any sense of the word. He twisted something on the valve, jammed a maintenance rod into the release mechanism, and looked at Vorlik. "When I throw this up, you count to 3, then seal the vent behind it." "Got it?" "Got it?" Vorlik's scales had gone pale. "That will create a pressure explosion." "Yep, we could die." "Yep, you are insane." Marcus grinned. "Also, yep. But here is the thing. Those guards up there. They are expecting maybe 1 or 2 desperate hostages trying to sneak through. They are not expecting a human who has watched way too many action movies and has absolutely terrible survival instincts. Surprise is 90% of any plan." "What is the other 10%? Tasca asked, hoping I did the math right. That was not reassuring. That was the opposite of reassuring. Marcus pulled the vent cover loose, tossed the modified canister up into Bay 6 and slammed the cover back down. Vorlik welded it shut with an emergency torch in exactly 3 seconds. The explosion was not loud. It was a deep, resonating thump that shook the maintenance tunnel. Then came the screaming. Guards shouting. Alarms blaring. The sound of people choking on foam and trying to find clean air. Marcus counted to 5, then pried open a different vent cover on the opposite side of the bay. He climbed up. and the others followed. I switched cameras frantically, trying to see what was happening. Base 6 was chaos. The entire space was filled with suppression foam. It covered everything and everyone like angry clouds. Visibility was maybe 2 meters. The guards were stumbling around, trying to clear their helmets, trying to find the hostages they were supposed to be guarding. They never saw Marcus coming. He moved through the foam like a ghost. I watched on thermal imaging as he approached the first guard, grabbed a pipe from the wall, and used it to sweep the guard's legs. The mercenary went down hard. Marcus took his weapon, disabled it by removing some critical component I could not identify, and moved to the next target. It was methodical, efficient, terrifying. Dr. Kesix was helping the hostages move toward the exit. Vorlik was guiding them through the foam. And Marcus was systematically taking down trained mercenaries like he did this every day. One guard got smart. He activated his helmet's thermal vision and spotted Marcus. He raised his rifle and fired. The shot went wide. Marcus had already moved. He came up behind the guard, used some kind of human combat technique I did not recognize, and the guard collapsed. Another guard tried to call for backup. Marcus threw something at him. It looked like a maintenance bolt. It hit the guard's communicator and shattered it. In less than 3 minutes, all 12 guards in Base 6 were down, unconscious, disarmed, and thoroughly humiliated. Marcus helped the last hostage out of the foam, then calmly walked to a wall panel and activated the air purifiers. The foam started to dissipate. He looked up at the camera, right at me, and he winked. That absolute maniac winked at the camera. Gorval was making sounds I had never heard a Thexian make before. He just neutralized 12 armed soldiers with foam and a pipe. And a maintenance bolt, I added helplessly. Do not forget the bolt. How is he doing this? I think, Kesix said over the communicator, we severely underestimated what it means to evolve on a planet that is actively trying to kill you. Humans do not just survive Earth, they thrive on it. This is not normal behavior for them. This is Tuesday. Marcus gathered his now 32 freed hostages and held an impromptu meeting. I managed to get audio this time. Okay, everyone. Good work. Seriously. You are all doing amazing. He checked his data pad. We have one more group to free. Bay 3. That is where Veskaar and his command team are, along with 11 more hostages and approximately 15 guards. This is going to be harder than what we just did. Someone asked incredulously. Way harder. Veskaar knows something is wrong now. He will have his best people with him. They will be ready for a fight. Marcus paused. But here is our advantage. They think they are dealing with escaped hostages. Scared workers trying to survive. They have no idea we have been systematically taking apart their operation. Mexon spoke up. So what is the plan? Marcus smiled. That terrifying, friendly, absolutely unhinged smile. We are going to walk through the front door. Silence. Gah. Then everyone started talking at once. Objections. Concerns. Accusations that Marcus had finally lost what little sense he had left. He held up his hands. Listen. Veskaar is a professional. He follows patterns. Right now, he thinks he has a security problem. Maybe 1 or 2 areas compromised. He does not know we have freed everyone. He does not know we have been using maintenance tunnels. And he definitely does not know we have 32 people ready to fight back. But we are not fighters, Tasca protested. We are freight workers and medical staff and engineers. We cannot take on trained mercenaries. You are right, Marcus agreed. We cannot fight them directly. But we do not have to. We just need to be loud, chaotic, and distracting enough that they make mistakes. Humans have this saying. If you cannot win with skill, win with audacity. Dr. Kesix laughed. It was a bitter, tired sound. You want to out-crazy the mercenaries. Exactly. See, Doctor, you get it. I hate that I get it. Marcus started dividing people into groups. Some would cause distractions. Others would help evacuate hostages. A few, including Vorlik and Mexen, would help him with what he called the main event. He would not explain what the main event was. That should have been a warning sign. They moved through the station like a coordinated unit. I watched on cameras as they split up, each group heading to different positions. Marcus led the primary team toward Bay 3, taking a route through the cargo corridors. In Bay 3, Veskaar was losing his patience. I could see it on the security feed. He was pacing, his mandibles clicking in agitation. His second in command, a Quillari named Sekthar, was trying to get status reports. Teams 2 through 5 are not responding, sir. Bay 7 is sealed due to contamination. Bay 6 has gone dark. Veskaar slammed his hand on a console. How? How are we losing control? They are cargo workers. There are reports of one individual leading the disruption. Human. Male. Described as insufficiently concerned with his own mortality. One human is destroying our operation? Apparently, sir. Veskaar made a decision. Forget the ransom. We take what we can carry and leave. Execute the remaining hostages. Make it quick. My blood went cold. Gorval started sending emergency signals to any nearby patrol ships, but we all knew they were too far away. Marcus must have been listening somehow. He had tapped into our security network. Clever human. He suddenly broke into a run. His team followed. They reached the entrance to Bay 3 in less than a minute. The door was sealed, reinforced, designed to withstand a small explosion. Marcus pulled out his datapad, connected it to the door panel, and started typing faster than I thought possible. What are you doing? Vorlik hissed. Hacking. Humans got really good at this when we invented computers. Then we got even better when we realized other humans were using computers to steal from us. Digital warfare. It is fun. This is a military-grade security system, made by the lowest bidder in a government contract. I guarantee it. Marcus kept typing. Security systems are only as good as the people who install them, and people are lazy. They use default passwords, skip optional security layers, and assume nobody will be crazy enough to try breaking in. Something beeped. The door unlocked. Marcus looked at his team. Ready? Nobody was ready, but they all nodded anyway. Marcus opened the door and walked into Bay 3 like he owned it. I am not exaggerating. He strolled in, hands in his pockets, that grin on his face, and said, "Hey there. Sorry to interrupt. We are here for the hostages." 15 guns pointed at him immediately. Veskaar stared. You are the one causing all this trouble." "Me? I am just a freight coordinator. I move boxes." Marcus looked around the bay. "Nice setup you have got here. Very professional. I especially like the tactical positioning. Good fields of fire, clear sight lines. You really know your stuff. You are insane. I get that a lot." Marcus nodded toward the hostages huddled in the corner. "So here is the thing. You can shoot me." "Absolutely. You have guns, I have a datapad, and misplaced confidence. Math says you win. But before you do, I want to show you something." He pulled out his datapad and turned it so Veskaar could see the screen. "This is a live feed of your ship, the one docked at Port 7. Notice anything interesting?" Veskaar looked. His expression changed from anger to confusion to horror. Is that the fuel line? Disconnected? Yeah. Also, your navigation computer has been infected with a very annoying virus that will require a full system reset. Your weapons array has been disabled, and your emergency escape pods have been jettisoned into space. Marcus tilted his head. "You know, for safety." "When did you?" "While you were busy taking over the station, I had some friends working on your ship. Turns out, stations have maintenance crews who know every ship that docks here. And when you threaten a station, those crews get creative. It was a bluff. It had to be. Marcus had been freeing hostages the entire time. He could not have possibly sabotaged Veskaar's ship. Except the look on Veskaar's face said otherwise. Sekther checked her own datapad. "Sir, I am reading multiple alerts from the ship. He is not lying." Marcus shrugged. "So here is your situation. You cannot leave. Your ship is dead in the water, metaphorically speaking. Station security has locked down every exit. Patrol ships are on their way. They will be here in maybe 2 hours. You have 2 options. Surrender now, let the hostages go. And maybe you get to spend your life in prison instead of being spaced for attempted mass murder. Or you can try to shoot your way out, fail spectacularly, and die badly." Veskaar raised his weapon. "You are bluffing." "Am I? Want to test that theory?" One of the guards near the back suddenly shouted, "Sir, the ship's automated distress beacon just activated. It is broadcasting our location and identification codes." Marcus grinned wider. "Oh, right. Forgot to mention that part. Yeah, your ship is now telling everyone in the sector exactly who you are and where you are. Every bounty hunter, law enforcement officer, and rival gang within 5 jumps knows you are sitting here, helpless. How long do you think before someone shows up looking for that very generous bounty on your head, Veskaar?" The Talon Syndicate leader was many things, but he was not stupid. He knew when a situation had turned completely against him. His weapon lowered slightly. "You did all this? One human? Me? No way. I had help. Lots of help. From people you thought were too scared to fight back." Marcus gestured to the doorway, where 32 freed hostages were now standing, armed with improvised weapons and sheer determination. "Turns out, when you threaten people's home, they get motivated." It was the most ridiculous army I had ever seen. Trade workers holding pipes, medical staff with scanner equipment, engineers with welding torches, all of them looking tired, scared, but absolutely done with this situation. Veskaar looked at his guards. His guards looked at each other, and the math was clear. Even if they won the fight, they had nowhere to go. "Stand down," Veskaar ordered. "All teams, stand down." The weapons lowered. Marcus walked forward, calm as could be, and picked up Veskaar's rifle. He checked it, disabled it, and set it aside. "Good choice. Seriously, you probably just saved a bunch of lives, including your own. That counts for something." Station security came flooding in minutes later. They had been waiting for the all-clear. They arrested every syndicate member, secured the hostages, and generally looked bewildered by what they found. Gorval came down personally. He stared at Marcus for a long moment. "You just took down 50 armed mercenaries with maintenance equipment and attitude." "And help," Marcus corrected. "Could not have done it without everyone else. They were amazing. You walked into an ambush and turned it into a rescue mission." "Well, when you put it like that, it sounds impressive." "It was impossible." Marcus laughed. "Impossible is just a word people use when they have not tried hard enough. Humans stopped believing in impossible a long time ago. We looked at impossible and said, challenge accepted." Dr. Kessex checked Marcus for injuries. Somehow, impossibly, he had a few bruises and nothing else. "You should be dead. Multiple times over. But I am not. So that is good. How did you stay calm? How did you know it would work?" Marcus thought about it. "Honestly, I did not. I figured it was maybe 50-50 odds. But sitting around waiting to die seemed worse than trying something. Even if that something was completely insane. Humans have this problem where we would rather die trying than live with regret." "That is not a survival trait," Kessex said. "Sure it is, just not the way you think. We survived Earth by being too stubborn to quit, too creative to accept limitations, too social to abandon each other. Every predator, every disease, every environmental disaster just made us angrier and more determined. You want to know the secret of humanity? We are the species that looked at the food chain and said, What if we just ignored that entire concept? Vorlik approached nervously. Marcus, I must know. Did you really sabotage their ship? Or was that a bluff? Marcus pulled out his datapad. You know those friends I mentioned? Turns out, I made buddies with the dock workers during my first week here. Nice folks. Very helpful. When the attack started, I sent them a message through the station's maintenance network. They were happy to help make some creative adjustments to the Syndicate's ship. So it was real? Every word. Humans have another saying, trust but verify. I verified that ship was not going anywhere before I walked into that bay. I was watching all of this from the security office, recording everything. Gorval stood next to me, still trying to process what had happened. He planned this, Gorval said quietly. Not the attack, but he prepared for something like it. All that studying, all those questions about the station systems. He was learning every vulnerability, every backup, every way to turn our infrastructure into a weapon. Why? I asked. Why would a freight coordinator do that? Because he is human. They see problems before they exist. They prepare for disasters that might never happen. They cannot help themselves. Kessex joined us, leaving Marcus to be swarmed by grateful hostages. I ran a psychological profile on him. Standard procedure. You know what it said? Elevated risk tolerance, strong social bonding instincts, pattern recognition off the charts, and a stress response that essentially translates to get creative and fight back. That is not an outlier for his species. That is baseline human psychology. They are all like this? I asked. More or less. Some are more cautious, some are more reckless. But that core combination of intelligence, stubbornness, and social loyalty, that is fundamental to what makes them human. Gorval laughed. It sounded slightly hysterical. The Council has been treating humans like junior partners, cute primitives playing at galactic politics. We have been so focused on their lack of natural weapons, their fragile bodies, their short lives that we missed what actually makes them dangerous. Which is, I prompted. They do not think like prey. They think like predators who used to be prey and never forgot the lessons. They are cooperative, creative, and absolutely unwilling to accept defeat. That combination is terrifying. Over the next few hours, things settled. The Galactic Council sent a response team. The Syndicate members were taken into custody. The hostages received medical treatment, and Marcus Webb gave a statement that was somehow both completely accurate and wildly understated. We saw an opportunity to escape, he told the Council investigator. So we took it. Team effort. Everyone did their part. The investigator looked at the reports. The disabled guards, the sabotaged ship, the systematic dismantling of a professional mercenary operation. This seems like considerably more than an escape attempt. I mean, we got creative. Humans are good at improvising. You hacked a military-grade security system. It had a default password. That is just embarrassing. The investigator gave up trying to get a straight answer. Later, after the official interviews and medical checks, Marcus found me in the security office. Hey, Vortan, right? You were watching the feeds? Every second, I confirmed. Did I look cool? I was going for cool. I stared at him. You almost died multiple times. You risked everyone's lives on plans that should not have worked. You bluffed a hardened criminal with nothing but confidence and a data pad. So yes to looking cool? Despite everything, despite my better judgment, I laughed. You are absolutely insane. Yeah, I get that a lot. He sat down, looking tired for the first time. Can I tell you something, Vortan? Off the record? Of course. I was terrified. The entire time. Every single second. I thought I was going to die, or get someone else killed, or make everything worse. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely hold my datapad. But you did it anyway, because nobody else was going to. and I could not just sit there and wait for the worst to happen. Humans have this phrase. We say, if not me, then who? If not now, then when? It sounds heroic. But really it just means we are too impatient and too stubborn to wait for someone else to fix our problems. He looked at the screens showing the station slowly returning to normal. I volunteered for Krell 9 because everyone said it was too dangerous, too unstable, not worth the risk, and that just made me want to come here more. I wanted to prove that the scary place was not that scary, that people could build something good even in the rough parts of space. I did not expect to actually test that theory quite so dramatically. You saved 43 lives today, I told him. You took on an entire mercenary company with maintenance equipment and sheer audacity. The council will probably give you a medal. Can I get a raise instead? Medals do not pay rent. That made me laugh again. Here was a being who had just accomplished the impossible, and he was worried about rent. Marcus stood up, wincing slightly. I should go. Kessex wants to run more scans, and I promised Vorlik I would help fix the ventilation system we damaged. Turns out, crawling through maintenance tunnels is not great for infrastructure. Marcus, I called as he reached the door. Why did you really come to Krell 9? He thought about it. Because it needed someone. This station, these people. You are all out here in the rough parts of space trying to make a living, trying to build something. And nobody cares. Nobody helps. So I figured maybe I could, even if it was just moving boxes and being friendly. Sometimes that is enough. It was more than enough. Thanks, Vortan. He grinned, that insufferable grin. Same time next week? I assume we will have another crisis by then. Seems to be the pattern. He left. Orville emerged from his office. Did that human just joke about the next crisis? He did. And we are letting him stay on the station? We are. Orville considered this. Then he pulled up Marcus's personnel file and added a note. It read, promoted to emergency response coordinator. Effective immediately. Salary increase authorized. Do not let him leave. I added my own note below it. Recommend assigning psychological support. It's not because he needs it, but because whoever works with him definitely will. 3 days later, the station was back to normal operations. The syndicate members were gone. The hostages were recovered. And Marcus Webb was back in Bay 7, processing cargo and humming to himself. I watched on the security feeds, still trying to understand what I had witnessed. Dr. Kessex joined me. The council wants a full report, she said. They are calling it the Krell 9 incident. Very official. They want to know how one human defeated 50 trained mercenaries. What did you tell them? The truth. That Marcus Webb is a freight coordinator with decent computer skills, exceptional spatial awareness, and the kind of optimism that borders on delusion. That he used existing station infrastructure against an enemy who underestimated both him and the people he was protecting. That he turned a hostage situation into a coordinated resistance through nothing but charisma and terrible decision-making. How did they respond? Kessex smiled. They did not believe me. They think there must be more to it, some secret human military training, or advanced technology, or hidden psychological manipulation techniques. There is not? No, that is just Marcus. And apparently that is just humans in general. They are not special because of technology or biology. They are special because they refuse to accept that some problems cannot be solved. They see a wall and immediately start looking for doors, windows, or ways to go through it. I thought about that. About Marcus walking into Bay 3 with nothing but a data pad and a smile. About him turning contamination into an advantage, foam into a weapon, and hostages into heroes. The Council is going to have trouble with humans, is it not? I said. Oh, absolutely. Humans do not fit into our frameworks. They break rules we did not know we had. They question assumptions we thought were universal. and they keep surprising us by doing things that should be impossible. Should we warn the Council? Kessex laughed. I already did. I filed a report recommending that humanity be reassessed from junior partner to potential equal, and that their psychological profile suggests capabilities far beyond what we initially evaluated. That underestimating them is a strategic error. What did the Council say? They filed my report under interesting theories and unlikely scenarios. They will learn eventually. Probably the hard way. Humans have a way of making people learn the hard way. On screen, Marcus had stopped working. He was helping a new worker, a young Thexian who looked nervous. Marcus was showing him the proper way to secure cargo netting, demonstrating with patience and humor, making the scared kid laugh. Just being Marcus. Gorval walked past, saw what we were watching, and shook his head. We are never getting rid of him, are we? Would you want to? I asked. He thought about it. No, I would not. Because the next time something goes wrong on this station, and it will, I want that insane human on our side. Agreed. Marcus finished helping the new worker, gave him an encouraging pat on the shoulder, and went back to his own tasks. Humming. Always humming. Later, I compiled the full security footage into a report. Every camera angle, every audio file, every piece of evidence showing exactly what Marcus Webb had done. I sent it to the Council with a simple note. This is what humanity looks like. Prepare accordingly. I do not know if they listened. I do not know if they understood. But I knew. I knew that humans were not the soft, gentle species we had assumed. They were survivors. Fighters. Problem solvers who refused to quit even when quitting was the logical option. He and Marcus Webb, freight coordinator, emergency response coordinator, and absolute maniac, was the perfect example of what his species could do when pushed. He walked into an ambush and turned it into a rescue mission, not because he was trained for it, not because he had special abilities, but because he was human, and humans simply do not know how to give up. That is what makes them terrifying. That is what makes them valuable. That is what makes them human. And that is why, 3 cycles later, I requested a transfer to work directly with human personnel. Because if the galaxy was going to have to deal with more of them, and it would, someone needed to understand them. Someone needed to record their stories, document their methods, learn from their madness. That someone might as well be me. After all, I had already survived Marcus Webb. How much worse could the rest of humanity be? I would learn the answer to that question, but that is a story for another time. For now, I watched Marcus Webb move boxes in Bay 7, smile at passing workers, and plan whatever insane thing he would do next. And I smiled too, because Krell 9 was safer, stranger, and infinitely more interesting with him here. Humanity had arrived in the galaxy, and we were all going to have to adjust.